Hello, today we're painting a rainbow. We've been learning about the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, and how they can mix together to make the secondary colors, orange, green, and purple, also called violet. So today we're going to do an experiment to see if we can mix those and paint our rainbow. Don't forget, a rainbow always has the same order when you see the colors in it. It always goes red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. So make sure when you paint your rainbow today, you put your colors in this order. We're actually going to start right here in the middle with yellow to divide our paper in half. Then we're going to work up and work down our rainbow. But doing that yellow stripe in the middle is going to help us get our rainbow centered on our paper. Notice how we're going to paint that yellow curve right in the middle. Here are the materials we need today. We need a piece of poster board to do our painting on. On one side it has an X. When you find the X, that's where you're going to write your name at. So I'm going to do that now. Please use your very best handwriting. Then turn your poster board over. We have on our tray a brown paper towel to clean our paintbrush on, water to dip into and rinse our paintbrush with, and we have red, yellow, and blue tempera paints. I'm going to begin by taking my paintbrush and looking at it for just a second. I want to hold my paintbrush like a pencil, close to the silver ferrule or the silver tip at the end of it. And when I dip my brush in the paint, I want to make sure that I just dip the very tip of my paintbrush. Everybody say, dip the tip. Dip the tip. Don't get paint all the way up on the silver part. If you do, please raise your hand and ask for help cleaning up your brush. So when I dip in my yellow paint, notice how I just dip the tip. I don't have any paint up on the silver part. I'm trying hard not to let it drip. If I have extra, I can just wipe it on the edge of the tray right there and get it off. I'm going to start by painting my yellow curve right here in the middle of my paper. Usually when I see a rainbow, it fills up the whole sky. I think I need to dip again. I want to get that area nice and covered with no white spaces in it. I want to make sure it's nice and smooth without any big puddles of paint anywhere. So spread it out nice and smooth. See how my curve is right in the middle of my paper. I've divided it into the top, the middle, and the bottom. Let's start by working on the top. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rinse my brush. I'll just dip in the water really quickly and then wipe it on the paper towel. And that's how we clean our paintbrush. The next color we're going to use is red. When I dip in the red, notice how I just dip the tip. I'm not trying to get my paintbrush all covered. When I put down my red stripe, I will skip a space. Notice how I skipped a space. Our red tempera paint is a little bit thicker than our yellow tempera paint, so you have to work harder to spread it out. So the red stripe is always the top of the rainbow. After I paint my red stripe on the rainbow, I have to get some red and some yellow on my paintbrush to try to make my orange stripe in between them. Notice how I smoothed my red paint out. I tried not to leave any clumps or any puddles in it, but make it nice and smooth. So now I have some red paint on my brush. I am not going to wash it. I'm going to leave that little bit of red on it and just dip really quickly in the yellow to try to get them to mix together. So now when I start to paint again, hopefully you'll see some yellow and some red in there working together to make orange. And I'm going to fill up my space I made with orange. Oh, I really like that orange. I'm not going to leave any white spaces in between, but I'll try to be really neat and even and paint all the way from side to side, a nice big curve. Well, that's about half my rainbow. Red, orange, yellow. Now I need to rinse my brush again. I'll dip it in the water quickly. I don't need to stir in the jar, and I don't need to tap on the jar. I do need to make sure all that red paint is gone off my brush though. The next color that I'm going to make or add to my rainbow is going to be the blue. So remember when we did yellow, then we skipped a space, and then we did red? Well, we're going to do the same thing for blue, but going down. We're going to skip a space for the green. So skip a space and then do your blue curve. I'll dip my brush in the blue, skip a space, and then I'll start my blue curve. Let me dip again, get a little bit more. I'm adding blue to the bottom half of my rainbow. Now I'm not going to rinse the blue off my brush. I'm going to leave the blue on my brush and we'll make the green just like we made orange. We're going to leave the blue on there and then just dip it into the yellow very quickly. So now I have blue and yellow on my paintbrush, and in between the blue and yellow is where I'll mix them, going back and forth to make the green. That's why I put blue and yellow on my paintbrush. What a beautiful green stripe that made. The last color I need for my rainbow is the purple stripe at the bottom. So I'll dip quickly to rinse my brush, wipe it on the paper towel, and I'm going to dip once in the red, once in the blue. And now I need to mix them to make purple. So just go back and forth a couple of times, mixing the paint together on my paper. I'm not mixing it on my friend's paper. I'm not mixing it in the cups of paint. I'm going back and forth on my own paper to blend the red and the blue. Wow, what a great purple stripe. That looks beautiful. I love it. Now that we've finished up our rainbow, we need to rinse our brush one last time, dry it off, and lay it down on the tray so it doesn't roll away.